Okay. So I started the website registration. I found my website and I checked out, I paid it, and then I waited for an hour and I got an email saying that my registration has been complete. It's gone from pending request in Route 53. Now it's there in the registered domain. This is what has been, this is what, this is my website name. And then once the registration is complete, what it does is it will create multiple records within something called hosted zone. It will create a hosted zone for each domain. So click on your hosted zones. And then this is my hosted zone, which is nextsteptraining.com. This is my newly created website. This is just, I bought it in front of you guys 1 hour back, right? So once I click on it, it created 2 records here. We'll find out what the records are and etc. So before we deep dive into it, let's get back and then let's get some fundamentals right on the DNS itself. So what exactly is a DNS? DNS stands for Domain Name System. This is like your telephone directory for internet. So like all of us have phone numbers, right? Phone numbers. And if I want to dial, let's say, Shovan, I need to use his phone number and then dial his number from my phone. But it's hard to remember the numbers and I don't want to remember the numbers. So then what do? I'll just store it somewhere in a phone book. So I'll say Shovan and this is his number. Now I don't need to remember, I don't need to remember the numbers since humans are not so good with numbers. So we want user-friendly names. So now I can go to my phone book and then click Shovan and then automatically it will pick up the number and then dial the number. So whether I do it, whether I dial the number directly or whether I look up myself and then dial the number, one way or the other, so the numbers are the ones that are getting dialed by my phone, and that's how the communication happens, right? So similarly, every single computer that's connected to internet has something called IP address. Of course, there we have 2 versions, IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 is, as you guys know, it's 4 octets. It's 8 bits, dot 8 bits, dot 8 bits, dot 8 bits. Right? Total 32 bits, and we have some concepts there. Let's not get into all of that. But essentially, every single computer has a unique IP address that's connected to the internet. So so this end user is trying to go to a website, let's say Amazon.com, okay, or Netflix.com. So he wants to go to Netflix.com, and then there is an IP address associated with the Netflix.com web server, the front-end web server. Let's say it's Apache, just to keep things simple. So there is a web server that's running Apache, and then it's port 80, and so this end user is trying to go to Netflix.com. I'm trying to go to Netflix.com. Well, I don't know the IP address of that particular server that Netflix.com is installed on, the Apache server's IP address. I don't know that. And I'm not so good with the IP addresses, it's hard to remember these IP addresses. So this DNS, domain name system, is nothing but the phone book for the internet. So this guy will simply maintain a simple key value pair, a user-friendly name to an IP address. That's all it is. So now Netflix.com, let's say this guy's Netflix.com's IP address is 192.0.2.44. This map will be maintained somewhere. That is called DNS, domain name system. And there are multiple DNS servers. Unfortunately, this is not a straightforward one server lookup. Okay, So what happens is it's a geographically distributed across the globe. It's maintained in several servers and at several levels. So what happens is when I try to go to netflix.com, or in this case example.com, right? So I have my ISP, internet service provider. It goes to my internet service provider and ask for it. Hey, do you have the IP address of my example.com or netflix.com? Can you give me? So this guy, the ISP, internet service provider, they have a concept of DNS resolver. So this guy would say that I don't know that, but I know how to look that up. Okay. First, this guy, the DNS resolver will go ask a root name server. There's something called root name server. This guy, it will say that, hey, do you have the IP address for netflix.com? What it will say is, based on the top level domain, if it is .com, so all this guy knows is, it will respond back saying that I don't know the IP address of example.com or www.example.com, but I know who knows the answer for it. Because this is a .com. All the .com servers are maintained .com, .eu, .in, .us. All of these are called top level domains. Each top level domain has their own DNS lookup servers. So I know you're talking about the .com, right? But I know the DNS server for .com. So this guy should know that. Because you're talking about a .com website, .com top level domain name, let me give you the name server of the top level domain, which is for .com. So this guy will give some other, some other DNS server IP. Okay. And this guy will say, oh, okay, so I need to go to this guy now. Okay. So he will go to this guy now. Whatever the response this guy gave, and now it will go to the top level. Hey, do you know the IP address of the example.com? And this guy will say that, okay, yeah, I deal with .coms, but I don't know the IP address of example.com directly, but I know who knows. I know that it's registered with me. It's saying that this .com name server, sorry, this example.com, in this case, example.com's name server is Route 53 name servers. Because this guy has a domain registered, he bought the domain with Route 53. And when he bought when you buy the domain from Route 53 or from GoDaddy or one of the domain registrars, what they do is they give something called name servers. They have their own name servers. So those name servers will be registered with the top level domains. That is what they do as part of the process. So they will give back those name servers. And this guy will say, okay, so I understand, who knows it. Now it will give you another query with that one of the name servers say that, hey, do you have the IP address for this www.example.com? Now this guy will know. How does he know? Because within this, you may have added a new record within that. So there are certain records. So we'll talk about what those records are. So one of the primary record is nothing but an entry within DNS. So there is one major record called a record, authoritative record, right? A record will tell you, okay, for this www.example.com is mapped to this IP address. And what is this IP address? This IP address could be the IP address of an EC2 instance, let's say. And it will give the IP address. And this guy gets the IP address. And finally, what does he want, by the way? He asked this DNS resolver, what is the IP address of www.example.com? Now I got the IP address. Now I know where to go. Now I sent an HTTP request to this web server on this IP address, and I got the response back. So when you registered, when you buy the domain with either GoDaddy or Amazon Route 53 or one of these guys, okay, they will give you something called name servers. Now let's go back with those concepts. Let's go back here. See this one here? They give you something called name server records. For this nextsteptraining.com, I am the name servers. These four are acting as a name servers, meaning these are the servers that are registered. These are the four servers that are given here in the top level domain name. When top level domain name is asked, hey, can you give me the IP address of nextsteptraining.com? You know what he says? I don't know the IP address of this one, but one of these four guys will know. So he will give you back these four guys, one of these four guys. That's why it's important. So now you ask one of these four guys. These four guys are actually, Route 53 name servers. So these guys will know the appropriate IP address. How do they know? Well, we have to create a record here within Route 53. So we have to create it. So when you register your domain, by default, you'll get this name server records. This is what will tell, who will have the information about your website. So now, to precisely click on create record, okay, and then choose routing policy. We'll talk in depth about this one. So click on simple routing policy and click on next, okay, and then or actually click on define simple record. So I can do a define simple record. Let's go. Oh, no records have been selected, right? I can do a define simple record. In the define simple record, so what do you want to do? So this is where, are you planning on doing a simple, what are you defining now? Are you planning on creating the association of IP address? It's all about the association of IP address to your name. That's all it is, guys. So is it www.nextstep.training.com or is it blank.nextsteptraining.com? So where do you want to route your traffic to? A specific IP address, and then give that specific IP address. So you got your public IP, right? This is your public IP of your web server. No, I think we terminated this one. So what we'll do is, let's go back to EC2 for a second. Let's go back to EC2 and see what, oh, I don't have any EC2. Okay, so what we will do is, first, let's create a new EC2 instance and install Apache. Okay, create a simple index.html file, and then we will get the public IP address. Okay, that IP address, we will go back to Route 53 and create a new record there saying that when somebody calls nextsteptraining.com, please give this IP address. Those are defined in hosted zone of Route 53. Make sense? So what we'll do is, let's go ahead and launch an instance. So I'm installing Apache here and starting Apache, and I'll just say that welcome to Route 53 or something like that. I'll put my goal is, when I go to nextsteptraining.com, the newly created website, this welcome to Route 53 should be there, should be shown. That's my goal. Okay, and then I can make it name. I'll say next step training web server 1. Okay, web servers, we will launch My EC2 instance is getting created, and let's find out what's the public IP. This is the public IP, guys. Okay. Now, once it's, let's connect the dots. You'll get excited. Yep, it's running. Now let's go to this IP. It's still initializing, probably. Let's make sure Apache is running.
Actually, we saw that even though we can connect, it still is initializing.
Gotcha. Yep.
We saw that.
Nope, it's not. Yep. Because it has to run the script. See that initializing. Let's see. Nope, it's still coming. So this is the IP address. But my goal is I do not want to remember this IP address. If I want to go to my website, I want a friendly name, and I have bought a domain name, which is nextsteptraining.com, and I want to use that one. And when I go there, I want this content to be delivered to me. Let's wait. So meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll just get the public IP, and then I'll go to Route 53. So go to Route 53, click on hosted zones, and then nextsteptraining.com. This is my hosted zone. So I have NS record already, name server record, that's already given. SOA stands for start of authority record. It's just administrative purposes. What's the phone number or who owns it, etc. So you don't have to worry about it. But A record is the most important one. Simple routing. Define simple record. When I go to, let's say www.nextsteptraining.com, or even naked domain name, meaning naked, meaning nothing, just nextsteptraining.com. You can even do that. And then value route traffic to. Where do you want when somebody tried to go to www.nextsteptraining.com, where do you want to take him to? Okay, do you want to take him to an application load balancer as a simple IP address? It's a simple IP address, and I'm putting my IP address here, 18.216.3.65. Let's see if it's up. Yep, it's up. Welcome to Route 53. But I do not want to go through this, right? So, and then record type. This is an A record, guys. Okay. A record is the most important record, authoritative record. This is what will define what IP address is mapped to what user-friendly name. Okay. So every time you talk about DNS, one point has to be talked, which is TTL. So all these DNS records, imagine that every single time I try to go to netflix.com, if it makes these many calls, okay, to get IP address every single time, then it's I will have a performance issues, right? So that's why people cache them everywhere. So here I'm caching right now here. So this is going to be cached here. Okay. So how long do you want to be cached? Is it 300 seconds? 300 seconds is reasonable, okay, for DNS, but I want this to be 1 minute for now. Because, plus 1 minute. I want actually, let's see, the minimum is 60. I want to go with the minimalistic approach. So that's it. I think NS record. Oops, I did not save it. Nope. Let's go back. They made it fancy UI. It was not. This is a brand new UI that I'm seeing for the first time. What we are seeing here, it was not there in the previous. If you look at my previous videos, you will see what it looks like. Okay, but no big deal. It's content is exactly the same. So it's It's a record, and I want this to be 60 seconds.
What's this 60 seconds, Venkat?
60 seconds. 1 second. Okay, a record is out there. Okay, it is pointing to this one. So 60 seconds. www.nextsteptraining.com is mapped to this IP address, is what this record is saying. Agree? And this information is stored on this Route 53 servers for 60 seconds. So DNS propagation. So every 60 seconds, okay, every 60 seconds, when you get, when you're asking for an IP address for this one, right? This guy will respond back with this IP. And then also it will tell you that this is valid for 60 seconds, guys. So after 60 seconds, if you need it, you have to make a fresh call. It is cached for 60 seconds. That's what it means. The DNS records. Every single time you talk about the DNS, you have to talk about caching because it's cached. Does that make sense?
That means if within 60 seconds, if I make a call, it will be a faster response.
Within the, exactly. Because within 60 seconds, when you make it, you already have the IP address. So you don't need to get the IP address. Then your browser will make a direct call to IP address itself. It doesn't make a DNS call. Otherwise, it will make a DNS call. It will go to your ISP DNS resolver, which will go to, of course, you know, the top level domain IP address is cached here. And this is actually cached here. So everyone will cache, but our final A record is cached here. How long do you want to cache it? It's 60 seconds is what we put it. But typically 300 seconds is reasonable. Make sense?
If we put more, like, do they charge more, kind of?
Caching? No,
Yeah.
no, you can put it. It just becomes stale. You know, if
Okay.
something goes wrong
Yeah.
with that, see, at this point, if this IP address is, whether it's, you know, Apache is running or not, this is the IP address. DNS will answer only one question. What is the IP address of this particular user-friendly domain name? There's nothing more than that. Simple? Okay, guys. So now I want to show you something. You know, go to Google and then look for DNS propagation. Search for DNS propagation. So go to this DNS. What's my DNS? Yeah, this is fine. And now go to www. What's that website name that we defined? This guy. So go to this one and then search for A records. Let's do a search. Take a look at that. Since we gave 1 minute 1 minute caching, right? All the servers across the globe, these United States, Canada, Brazil, United Kingdom, France, all these DNS servers, Germany, Italy, Russia, Pakistan, India, all of that. Okay, all the DNS servers, but it may not be the case. In some cases, some get propagated. Okay, if I change the IP address right now, IP address, and then some may get propagated immediately and some may not. So that's why every time you touch with the DNS, so please allow up to 24 hours for the propagation to happen across all the geographic location, all the DNS servers. Make sense? Across the globe. So that's the DNS propagation happened already. Now we can try going to this website. Now you can all try going to this website also. There you go. You can all try going to this website from your own browsers. We just did everything on our own from scratch. So what happened just now? What did we do? Well, we registered a new domain and we updated the DNS record, especially this A record, and pointed an IP address here. Okay, so now I don't need to remember this IP address anymore. I have this friendly name. So this is exactly how it works. Whether you have one single instance, one single EC2 instance. In this example, we have a single EC2 instance, right? Or Netflix.com may have 10,000 servers, but still the concept is same. Your A record will have a single IP address, but that single IP address may not be pointing to one instance. Rather, it may be pointing to the front door to the farm of servers, to a set of servers. Thousands of servers are front-ended by a single concept called the single server called load balancer. There is something else called load balancer. This can be the load balancer IP. Does that make sense?
Yes, but question is, suppose you
Yes.
have 1,000 servers. If you have 1,000 servers, then how does it determine on a request where to go to?
That is someone else's job. So, meaning, as far as Route 53 is concerned, as far as your DNS is concerned, it will answer what is the IP address of this domain name, right? So it can be one IP address, or it can be several IP addresses. They can be more, but you will never put 10,000. All those 10,000 will be front-ended by most of the architectures. That's how you want to do it. Those 10,000 servers will be front-ended by a single front door. That front door will have an IP, or that front door will have there's something called LAS name or C name, okay? And you want to do that, meaning that front door IP is what you want to give to your end customers. Because if whatever you give it here, your end user, that is what he's getting now. With all of this one, what he's getting is www.nextsteptraining.com. He got this 18.2.216.3.65. That's what he got. And then once he gets it, his browser, the next call will go to that. We'll make a call using that IP. So what you will do is, when you have tens of thousands of servers, even if you have 5 servers, right, you want to use a load balancer in between, because load balancer will do a lot more things. Load balancer, what it does is it will check for health checks also. Let's say there are 5 web servers, and if one of them happens to be down, your load balancer will know. Your load balancer will know. Your load balancer will know that, hey, server 1 is not healthy. So let me not start sending any request to that guy. Let me take him out of the pool. That is load balancer job. Make sense?
Venkat, one quick question, maybe is kind of out of the scope, but is that using this kind of setup is common in the industry, like having an EC2 instance and pointing our domain to, maybe I know like you'll be using maybe load balancer instead of a single IP, but
Yep.
is it common to use EC2?
It is common for a simple websites. You tell me as an architect, is it a good idea to put that? First of all, your website, www.nextsteptraining.com. Now, it has a single EC2 instance. What if this EC2 instance is down? Actually, forget about that. This is in US East 2B, I believe, right? Or 2B or 2C, wherever that one is. What happens if that availability zone is down? Let's say there is that particular data center happens to be in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. What if there is a power cut in Columbus, Ohio?
Then my website is down.
Exactly. Your website is down. All of your customers get impacted, right?
Yeah.
So your availability goes down.
Yeah,
so
but
that is why. Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, my question was, let's say I'm not only pointing to only one IP address. I'm doing as like a bigger website, and I have load balancer instead of one single IP address. My question was, is it a industry standard to use EC2 as kind of a back end to the website?
Oh, absolutely. The is it an industry standard to use EC2 instances as your web servers is what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
So if it is a static website, I will not use EC2. Just as an example, I wanted to show you how to install Apache and all. Okay. If you are using a static website, I will not use this. I would rather use S3 static website hosting. There is some other service. We will see that probably in the next week. Okay. So that is the best option. But for if you have a dynamic website, okay, let's say you have, you know, exactly dynamic website, Java based website, or PHP or some other website, right? Absolutely. It's very common to use EC2 instance. And it's more common actually. One second, can we go on mute? Yeah, so it's very common to use EC2 instance, but when you're starting from scratch now in 2020, you don't have to, because there are better options now in 2020. Okay, but if you already have a website and it's running on certain containers, when I say certain containers, let's say you're using Java as a programming language and your Tomcat as your container, right? So for Tomcat, you don't need really EC2 instance. You can use better containerization techniques, okay, like a Docker, and orchestrations, container orchestrations like Kubernetes. Those are more popular choices in 2020. But this one brings its own value, right? This is a complete virtual machine, and you have complete flexibility. You can throw in any kind of web content out there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you.
It's very, 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 very common. Absolutely. In fact, before containers, this was the most popular choice actually. Oh, a lot of companies. In my previous company, we had 95 servers. Okay, we had 95 EC2 instances. They were all running all the Java stuff. They were all actually Tomcat EC2 instances. Okay, and the complete one of the top 3 automobile companies in the world, they were using it for authentication. Okay, top 3 automobile company was running their complete the authentication, authorization, everything from even the mobile apps and all sort of apps. They were going through that. So yes, millions of transactions per hour they were running on EC2 instances. Absolutely. And this is undoubtedly as popular as Java being probably the most popular programming language. It's EC2 is that popular choice. Fair?
I have one question.
Absolutely.
So, so right now you have identified a particular IP address by public IP, and then you populated it in here so that it is directed to that IP. So does that mean that this particular, if you want to associate or disassociate any other IP addresses that are given earlier, suppose I have this particular website already created, and then I have one IP address that is like I got another instance, right? So we can we overwrite by this method if we say that this particular one has this one. Now, after like two more weeks, I have another instance with a different IP, right? So I need to come here and change it here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can. So let me see if let's show. I think that's a good question. So next step, training web server 1, right? So what I will do is, so let's go ahead and create an image out of it. There is an EC2, right? This is the whole EC2 instance. What we will do is, let's create an image of it. So what happens is the whole hard disk and all the EBS volumes that are associated to this EC2 instance, they'll be taken a snapshot and put it away at this point in time, right? So what I will do is go to actions and then create image, and then create an image, and I'll call this as a next step training, web server image. Yeah, this is a web server image, right? So, and this one has only one EBS volume attached, which is the root volume device. Yeah, and this is enough for me. I'm creating the image. So what it does is it will take the backup of those EBS volumes that are attached to the EC2 instance, and it will create a simple script and put them as an image. So now go to EC2 dashboards and then AMIs. Click on images and AMIs. It's getting created. So once I have an image here, okay, the complete hard disk is not just one volume. All the volumes that are attached to that EC2 instance can be taken. So once this image is created, what I will do is from this image, I will spin up a new EC2 instance. From this image, I'll spin up a new EC2 instance. Obviously, when I spin up a new EC2 instance, and I want to change my DNS to point to the second web server. Now it's saying that welcome to Route 53, right? Okay. Now we will change that content to something else, and then you'll go to the website, my website, and then you will see that content is changed. Does it make sense? Okay, it's available now. Image is available. So what I'll do is, hey, by the way, Route 53. Do you know why it's Route 53? Are you guys familiar with Route 66? Route 66 being
Highway.
the longest highway.
Oldest highway.
Yeah, oldest highway actually. That's the oldest highway in the United States. I think it probably goes from East Coast to West Coast. Is it from? I don't know exact details, but it's somewhere from. I was told is it from New York to all the way to San Francisco or somewhere area, or something like that. It was at some point the longest, and it's the oldest freeway, and it has its name for that. Actually, I went to Vegas a few years back, and we went on Route 66. We stopped there and took some pictures. So anyways, so these guys got inspired from Route 66 because DNS, all it does is routing, when I send a request, so where should it go to, what IP address? It's all about routing, right? So these guys are inspired from Route 66, but why Route 53? 53, why didn't they use 66 itself? Because they're doing DNS, and DNS listens on port 53. Like HTTP's default port is 80, DNS default port is 53. That is why they used Route 53. That's just a fun tidbit, right? So anyways, this is my image, guys. Now I have an image, okay? Now I don't need this EC2 instance. I can go ahead and terminate this because I have everything. I just took a backup of it. I took the complete image of this server and I put it here. Now I can create as many instances as possible. So create an actions, launch using that. Yep, go ahead and that instance, go ahead and put it on T2 Micro. And in this one of the availability zones, I don't care. And add storage, go ahead and put it. I'll call this web server 2. Our next step, web server 2, security group, web servers, review launch. So I'm spinning up a second EC2 instance from the image that I got. So it's
so the image will contain all the additional hard drives, EBSs that you
yeah, and also the mapping, whether it's a /xvdf or xvdg, whatever that one is, it will hold on to that. Okay, let's give a minute and let's find out the public IP. This is the public IP, guys. Okay, so public IP obviously is changed, right? Now, if I want my website to point to this web server 2, of course, I'll come and change the content here. But meanwhile, since I have this 1 minute caching, so let's go to Route 53. Let's go to Route 53 and then go to hosted zones. This is my nextsteptraining.com. And then a record, pick up the a record, actions, edit. Okay, so go change this. Yep. This UI looks, it's not weird, it looks good, but I'm not familiar with it. It's just changed a couple of weeks back because I used this for my last batch just 2-3 weeks back. You will see that when you look at my previous batch videos.
Change the file name, right? So
What's that?
you didn't change the file name, right? Index.html. Did you change?
Index.html will get there. So, but at this point, what I changed is when someone goes to www.nextsteptraining.com, let's go check the propagation, okay? So 3.15 is a new IP address, and let's check. The existing one is 18.26. Right? So let's do a search. Hey, see that? The propagation is happening right now. But this guy is not in full sync yet. This guy is not in full sync, but most of the people are. See, the IP address has been changed already. So across the globe. So now let's make sure this Apache is working here properly. Let's make sure that, oh, it's working. So what we will do is, let's go to EC2. Yeah, thank you, Kasi. Yes, we will have to change it because otherwise we wouldn't know which one is which, right? So connect. Let's connect to this guy as root, and then I'll go to HTML. So I will change it to welcome to Route 53 I'm from server 2. Yeah. Wonderful. So let's go change it. There you go. Oh, but this is we went directly to the IP address. Now let's try going to the website. What's that called? Nextsteptraining.com. Nextsteptraining, not .net. .net, I created it for the last batch. .com now. Yep. There you go. You can all try this website. Did you all try? Try going there and then see. And then also, this is a NAIC domain. Oh, this is www.nextsteptraining. Okay, let's try NAIC domain and then see what happens. Yeah, NAIC domain also, same thing.
Venkat, I missed one thing. Did you use the image you created before?
Yes. So what I did is, this was the scenario. We had this web server 1. Okay, this one we worked hard on it. We went and refined our web server, refined the code and everything. We got everything picture perfect. This is, you can say this is a new code, new configuration. Everything is gold there. I'll call this as a gold web server. No, in my previous company, we used to call this a gold build. No, the build meaning the deployable artifact that is ready to go to production is called gold build. Okay, and that's where I picked that up from. Anyway, so this is my gold web server, right? So I created an image from this one, and that is AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. So this is my Amazon Machine Image. And in fact, if I'm so successful, okay, if my web server is so nifty, I not only took the Apache web server, but I tweaked it. I raised the performance to 50% because I'm so smart in this, Apache area, and I can create that image and I can put it in the marketplace, AWS marketplace, and I can even sell that Amazon machine image. I can sell it also. There are a lot of AMIs that are readily available, that a lot of them are free, and some of them you'll have to pay for it. Speaking of AMIs, let's go to EC2 dashboard. Actually click on launch new instance. When you go to launch instance, let's understand here for a second. See here, you can start from scratch here by selecting this guy, or I can go to my AMIs. I have one Amazon machine image here. I can I can provision a new EC2 instance from this, my own AMI, or I can go to community AMIs. Okay, a lot of these are all free, or I can even go to marketplace, AWS marketplace. These are paid versions, mostly paid. See that 60 cents per hour. This is Barracuda. I think Barracuda, that's a firewall for AWS. Okay. And this is Juniper Networks one, Trend Micro, OpenVPN, Splunk Enterprise. There you go. You guys are familiar with Splunk, right? The Splunk is a log aggregator.
Yes.
So if you want Splunk, okay, then they have an AMI. So you don't need to create an EC2 instance and install Splunk on your own, then configure it, tweak it, all of that. You don't need to do that. You just pick their AMI and pay the appropriate price. And then pretty much if it's a T2 micro, it's whatever this one is, 1 cent per hour, right? And then this is what they're asking for. And then pretty much it comes with it. So they made the necessary tweaks. They installed Splunk, they configured it, they made the necessary tweaks. You can do that. Similarly,
Venkat, what is that bring your own license?
where is that?
Could you click on
Oh, Splunk Enterprise.
The pricing, I guess.
the pricing details on the top in the green bold top?
Oh, pricing details, huh? Bring your own. So this one, oh, bring your own license. So
That means
this guy,
we need to have our own license, right?
this guy looks like, by paying your own. But if you are bringing your own license already, prepaid license, then why am I paying for this one?
Yeah, that's right.
That doesn't make sense, right? But either or probably. Oh, this is hourly fees. If you bring, or you can bring your own license. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. See, this is an Amazon EC2 and Amazon EBS. I can tell you one, from my own experience, we have used one image in my previous company. We were not using Amazon's own load balancer. We were using F5 load balancer. So F5 load balancer is very tricky in a way that you cannot create, you cannot create a brand new EC2 instance and install F5 on your own, because it comes with its own firmware also. Okay, so you can search for F5 and then use this F5 big IP, and then pretty much you pay whatever the price. Okay, and then continue, and then put it on an appropriate EC2 instance. See that? So when you are trying to install F5, so it doesn't allow all of these, T2 micro and T2 nano. It looks like it's at least medium. Okay, so and then pretty much everything will come there. And if you guys want WordPress sites, I'm sure you are familiar with the WordPress site, and my own site is a WordPress site. Nextstep.training, my website. This is a WordPress site. I use managed WordPress called SiteGround. I use SiteGround for this. This is a managed WordPress. Okay, but if you want WordPress in EC2, what you can do is go to EC2 dashboard, launch instance, launch. So WordPress needs Apache. Of course, Linux is already there. Apache, Linux, and MySQL and PHP. Essentially, this is what you needed. So you can install MySQL on your MySQL database on your EC2 instance on your own. You can install Apache on your own, like how we just did. And then you can install WordPress on your own. It's piece of cake. It's like how you can install Tomcat on this one, right? I mean, so it's very, very easy. But if you really don't want to do it, okay, you are not developer and you don't want to do it. I want something, my WordPress site up and running in just 5 minutes. Okay, then you don't need to do anything. You just go to Marketplace. Let's search for WordPress. There are Bitnami and oh, this is a free tier eligible WordPress certified by Bitnami and Automatica. I don't know what Automatic is, but
There is a separate lamp also there.
I'm sure there will be LAMP. You can do a LAMP, then probably LAMP. So this LAMP comes with all the 4. What is that? Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, right? But with WordPress, not only PHP. PHP is like a programming language, right? But on top of it, they will install WordPress and tweak it for you. You don't need to do anything. With WordPress, the beauty is everything is ready-made. These guys are selling it. This one is not sell. I believe it's free, if I'm not wrong. Let's check that. Oh, it's a bit. So 1 cent per hour. So if I want this one, right, I can pick this up.
So Venkat, if you pick that AMI, are we paying for them and also for AWS also?
Of course, because what we are paying for the Bitnami in this case, or whatever the company, right? Let's say, let's go back to Splunk example, right? We are paying Splunk definitely, but for all the resources that we are using, AWS resources, that's a great question, by the way. For all the resources that we're using, like EC2 instances and the corresponding EBS and everything, we have to pay AWS. So if you're so good in Apache, and if you created an Apache module and then installed Apache module, you tweaked Apache so well, now you can start selling it. Whatever that idea is, you know, hey, I'm selling this idea. I mean, you're selling your code, right? That code will be deployed on an EC2 instance. Of course, you'll be charged for EC2 by Amazon, but you'll have to pay these guys for F5 or Splunk or any of these guys. Make sense?
So what the company will benefit in that case, if in the long run, if they are using it, they are paying double, right? Like both both AWS and this marketplace, right?
Right. But F5, things like F5 or Splunk, you have no option there, right? Pretty much, because you can't install F5 on your own, Madhavi.
Oh, okay.
Because it comes with its own firmware, and I mean, it's not a plain simple Amazon Linux. Also, they actually cut out all the fat of the Amazon Linux, because they have to be able to manage the millions of transactions per second, right?
Okay.
So they do a lot of tweaking to the operating system itself.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? You're paying for all of that. You're paying for the actual F5 load balancer service itself. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Software. No, imagine Amazon. Actually, this may be the better way to put it. Amazon is providing you the hardware, and these guys are providing the software. Splunk is providing you the software, and you're installing Splunk on your EC2 instance. So you're paying both of them, hardware and software. There's no option there, right?
So, okay, one more question. Like, let's say for Oracle, we need license, all those things, right? So if some marketplace is selling like that, then we don't need a license, right? We can, is it true? Like we can directly use their...
No, actually with the Oracle comes with its own license, because even in the case of Splunk, we saw that bring your own license, right? So with the Oracle, the way it works is you have, not only Oracle, all of these guys, right? They'll say you have to bring your own license. if you want to install Oracle on an EC2 instance. But there is another managed service called Amazon RDS, Relational Database Service. If you use that, your license cost is already included in that.
True.
Let me pause there for a second, okay? Let's make sure you understand it. So this approach, what we are doing is we are creating a virtual machine and installing anything on it. Let's say MySQL. I can install MySQL for free. MySQL is free. I can do it, but Oracle is not. Okay, and I'm sure, let's go find that out to answer that specific question.
Yeah, but the student editions, this is the student one for personal purposes, learning purposes, Oracle is free.
Yeah, if there are some images out there for Oracle, there are 337. See that? Click Oracle Enterprise Linux 7. Oh, this is Enterprise Linux. See that?
No,
Oracle
even
Database
enterprise
12.
editions, even
Oracle,
the enterprise or standard editions are free for students.
say that again.
Even the enterprise and standard editions
Okay.
are free for people who want to do some work on their own.
The standard edition, I don't know. Let's pick this up. Hey, see that? So you are paying this much, so that they will take care. And total is see this. This is take a look at this one. I think whatever I just described, that was better version. See here, software and EC2 together, they are giving you the charge. I didn't see this. So software, they charge you 22 cents per hour. And then this much for EC2. If you pick T2 large, then finally you're paying about 31 cents per hour if you go with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, you do not need to bring your own license because they are charging you even for this, Madhavi, in this case.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And because these guys will have some understanding with Oracle guys. See what's included. This product includes the software packages described below. Oracle Database 12c offered by whatever the Clockwork Limited is a pre-configured image optimized to run on AWS. See this? They are doing all of these tweakings. With this offering, quickly launch new database workloads or migrate from on-premises to cloud using existing licenses. Using existing license. Oracle 12c from Marketplace can also be used too easily. So this is existing licenses. So that means for those tweakings, they charge some amount, and the license, you have to pay someone else, and of course your hardware. So your service, hardware, software, all together.
Okay.
That's a good discussion. Very good, very good. So that's about AMIs and
Venkat, one question.
mm-hmm.
Can we use, like, if I have existing domain name, like, can I use it here or like I can't?
Fantastic. Very great question. So I have an existing domain name somewhere else. Let's say GoDaddy. Okay, Route 53. So Route 53 is not the most popular domain registrar. In all fairness, it is not the most popular one. In fact, they had the whole DNS service, but they did not have the domain registration service itself. So in fact, my own websites, I had them with GoDaddy. So all you need to do is you have them in GoDaddy. So there are a couple of options there. You can transfer the domain from GoDaddy like domain registrars into Route 53, or you don't need to do that. So what you do is, all you need is, you need your name servers. You need your NS record, right? So here, go to Route 53. So what you need to do is, one hosted zone. You have your name server records, right? This guy, this is the key. So what you need to do is, you need to put these guys, these 4 name servers. Once you create the hosted zone here, you have to create a new hosted zone for your website. and then get your NS records, and then you have to update your GoDaddy's DNS records and go update your NS record to these 4. Then they are just there. So GoDaddy is not serving the DNS lookups anymore. Rather, GoDaddy is delegating to these guys. It's saying that, hey, you know what? I have these 4 name server guys, right? So when you ask this top level domain, the top level domain will give back one of these 4 or all these 4 DNS, and these guys will eventually
Venkat,
come to Route 53.
So all these 4 name servers you are getting only after purchasing it from Route 53. So basically you are telling that we had to purchase from Route 53 as well as GoDaddy?
GoDaddy, you will be paying. So from the price point of view, there are 2 things here. Even architecturally, there are 2 things here. One is domain registration itself, the registered domain here. Look at this one here. This one, I paid $12 per year. I paid $12 per year, and then there should be some auto renewal somewhere, manage. Okay. So anyways, that's not the point here. So the point is, this is, I paid $12 and that's all to it. But this is what GoDaddy did, right? So now what you need to do is, if you want to use Route 53 as your DNS record hosting, then you have to come here and create a new hosted zone and give your name and description and public hosted, and then it will give you the name server records. You have to update these name server records in GoDaddy so that now Amazon is maintaining it. Even though they have your domain renewal will happen through GoDaddy. But when somebody asks, what is the IP address of this particular website, your name servers in Route 53 will answer that. And Route 53 will charge you about 5 cents or 50 cents per month. Some nominal fees.
Oh, for these name servers.
For the DNS, for DNS lookups. I can show you my real account one day. I can show you how much I get charged, for my websites and all, for the DNS, But I highly recommend for this 1-2 months, please keep it. And definitely, if you get charged, we can talk to AWS guys and they'll refund you every single cent. Yes. First of all, let me make sure if I answered Kasi's question.
Yeah, I gotta drop this one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Yes, I got it.
And by the way, if you have your domain with GoDaddy, go to DNS zone, DNS editor, DNS zone, whatever it's called, and then you will see the name server records there, NS records there. So those NS records will be GoDaddy's NS record. Okay. I don't think I have my website anymore with the GoDaddy, my couple of websites. Otherwise, I would have shown that. Okay. So you need to modify them. So how did I get this name server records, guys? Because I purchased my website with these guys, right? That's why it automatically got created. Now, let's say I don't like Route 53. I want to go to Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure is maintaining it, okay? I bring those, but unfortunately, I already bought my domain with these guys, right? So all you have to do is come here and then take out these 4 records and then bring my Microsoft Azure's, name servers here. That's it. You're all set. And it's not maintained. Your site is not your DNS. You are not using Route 53 for DNS lookups anymore. You're rather using Microsoft Azure. Does it make sense?
Yes.
I think we'll stop here.
Venkat, before we stop, I've got a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
That is, see, when you said about, let's say, 1,000, a farm of servers,
Mm-hmm.
that is basically for, like, suppose there is some earthquake or some natural disaster, all those things. So what are these servers giving? The same thing? Are the servers really, see, when I go to a server, it shows me something. When I Google something, it shows me something. So all these 1,000 servers would be really showing the same thing, or
Absolutely.
they're showing different things?
It's a scalability, right? So one server can scale, let's say one web server can provide consistent response times. Let's say your response SLAs are about within 1 second. Okay. One web server, one EC2 instance can answer 20 concurrent requests. Hypothetical, right? So after 20 concurrent requests, you found out through your load testing that 21st request came in, then your response time degradation is happening. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So you found out that it is not advisable to send more than 20 requests per EC2. So, but you have a you also found out that you need to be able to support 2,000 requests per second because your business has grown. So 2,000 divided by 20, you need 100 EC2 instances.
Okay.
So you create all 100 EC2 instances and put it behind the load balancer. We'll talk about load balancer tomorrow, but you'll put them behind load balancer and then you're all good.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, it's a scalability, but that is a scalability. Now let's talk about the another aspect of architecture called availability. So you want to make sure that these 100 instances are span across all 3 availability zones, because even if one availability zone is down, you are still serving 66% of the people, right? So, but if you put all of your eggs in one basket, then it's a different problem. So we have to solve the scalability problems. We have to solve the availability problems. Understand the difference between those two?
Yeah.
Make sense? And we'll talk about ALBs tomorrow. And Route 53, from exam perspective, please don't think that's it. Okay, there are more routing policies and geolocation-based routing, simple routing policy. There are multiple. Actually, I might do one later, or I'll ask you to watch a video. But today I wanted to kick that off so that we can play with it a little bit. And tomorrow when application load balancer come in, then we'll create an application load balancer and we will change the A record to point to application load balancer. At that time, there is no IP address. ALB will not give you IP address, but rather we use alias name. I will show you that tomorrow.
Okay. Then I've got a few more questions also.
Yeah.
See, actually, this this thing that you taught today, in which batch 2 video can I see it?
You mean Route 53 concept?
All these things, yeah. What you taught today. Now Route 53 concept.
Route 53, you mean you want to in-depth concept, huh?
Whatever you taught, that's pretty good.
So if you want in-depth, no, I will upload this video because it's getting recorded anyway. I'll upload this, but there is a separate Route 53 video in batch 2. Okay, this is exclusively on Route 53. Here I talked about all the routing policies. This is how it looks.
And this document, shall we get it?
This document meaning this PowerPoint?
The one that you're showing, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm not there, okay, I'll upload it. So you have different routing policies. I might even cover it. We will see, because I want to, if you guys all say that, hey, I watched it, I got this, then I'll spend time on something else. That's how I experimented. And, we'll talk about ECS, Elastic Container Service. That's something that I've not talked, Okay, guys?
Okay, and there's another changing gear. See, when we really detached a volume from one server, from one EC2 server, and we have got another new EC2 server, we're going to attach it. So we have to really first attach it externally and then go and do a mount, right? I forgot that step.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
First, you have to attach and make sure your EC2 instance and your EBS volume are in the same availability zone. Otherwise, you'll not be able to attach it. First, attach your hard disk to your compute, and then log into your EC2, and then make sure file system exists. If not, create it. If it already exists, then mount it, use it, and go bonkers with it.
And if you see, this is a common mistake to really forget the disk volume. You know, those actually it's a codified name with EP1, 2, CC, BB, TT, all those things. It's a common mistake to really forget the volume that we just detached. Is there any way of really finding out, or just we have to do a manual search and do it?
So let me make sure I understand. So once you have a couple of volumes attached to your EC2, okay?
Suppose you detach one, you will still see those volumes in your volume, this screen. Now it becomes difficult to understand which one I just detached.
Oh, because it's it will show you the status, right? Available, whether it's in use or available.
In use or available. But
Yes.
snapshot, does the snapshot does it have anything to do with that?
There is no, sorry.
No connection.
When you talk about snapshot, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So here, this is a actual active hard disk, right? The EBS volume is an active hard disk. Okay, your EC2 is continuously writing into it as you modify it, right? So by taking a snapshot, go to create a snapshot. By taking a snapshot, what you're doing is a point in time snapshot of that hard disk. So you are taking as of July 24th or 25th, 12:19 p.m. This is the content. And after that, after you take the snapshot, you may be still writing to the hard disk, but all those changes will not, be synced up automatically. There's no magic there. I'm taking a copy of it as of this time frame. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Actually, we were having a discussion with my partners, Kasi and Pradyumna. So I just wanted to make sure that.
By the way, if your EBS volume is attached to an EC2 instance, the state will be in use, and also click on that. Then see this one, attachment information. It is attached to web server 1, and the drive is /dev/xvda.
Okay, thank you very much.
And then if you look at the available, you will not see that attachment information. That's blank because it's not attached. My photos is not attached.
Yeah, I got it.
Please make sure you terminate the EC2 instances and delete the volumes also, so that you will not get charged.
Sure.
Have a fantastic day. That's all, guys. Go ahead.
So one question in regards to, sorry to keep you up.
Oh, no worries.
So you're talking about snapshot and AMI, right?
Yep.
So when we talk about the AMI, we say that we are creating an image, and that image can be used for instantiation of other instances.
Yep.
So similarly, will the snapshot be used, like, because you are having everything for that particular instance?
So snapshot is per volume. Per volume is a hard disk, right? Let's say I have 3 volumes. You are taking a snapshots for each one of them. And you're taking a point in time snapshots and putting it away.
Okay.
Let's understand the concept of snapshot itself, right? You're clear on that.
Yeah.
So now, anytime, so the snapshot is out there. Let's say I created a snapshot. So the snapshot is out there. Now from snapshot, I can create a volume out of it. Meaning I have an active hard disk now. I can create an active hard disk from the files, raw files. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Once I create the volume, now I can attach to any EC2 instance and start mounting it, start writing to it.
Oh, I see. So if you have several
Okay.
volumes, couple of volumes, then you have to do it snapshot by snapshot,
Yes.
or volume by volume.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
think for AMI, if you have, then
One
all
second.
these volumes are in
Sorry,
one place.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's pause for a second. Before we go to AMI, did we understand the concept of snapshots and how volume, how you will take the snapshot from volume, put it away. So you can take a snapshot. It's like a tape backup saying that as of July 25th afternoon, this is my photos volume. I just put it away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 1 year down the line, something happened, and now I have my snapshot there. They internally store it in a simple storage service. Okay. So internally, you will it will store it in somewhere in S3. What is S3? We didn't talk about it, so don't worry about it. Somewhere it will store it, right? So now 1 year down the line, I came back and said, hey, I need those photos. I know I put it in a raw somewhere, right? So raw files in a snapshot. So I go to snapshots and create a volume out of it because I need like a hard disk now attached to one of the EC2 instances. Now I will create the volume from snapshot. That's when it's an active hard disk now. Now that active hard disk I'll attach to EC2 instance and I'll start writing, I'll start consuming it. That's all about the life cycle. Without AMIs. Are we clear without AMIs?
Yes.
Wonderful. So now let's go to AMI. So what Amazon Machine Image does is, let's say you have an EC2 instance that has got 5 EBS volumes attached to it. Now, by creating an image, what you're doing is that you start taking note of it. Okay, all these 5 EBS volumes will be taken snapshot along with that mapping, like what appropriate EBS volume mapping. Is it XVDA? If it is XVDA, is disk 1, XVDB is disk 2. All those mappings will be remembered too. All of that will be taken aside. Now, once you have the Amazon Machine Image, okay, it will have the complete set. Now with that Amazon Machine Image, you can spin up a new EC2 instance exactly like how, when you took the image as. Does that make, did I explain the difference? So you have the individual volumes, you have taken a snapshot and put it away, and then when you need it, bring it back, create the volume out of it and attaching EC2. But here with the EC2 AMI, the beauty is you'll be able to spin an exact EC2 any point, anytime. Again, it's a point in time snapshots, but you don't have to remember these individual ones, the exact, like however your EC2 is configured with how many other volumes, all of those volumes will be taken a snapshot and appropriate EBS mappings, all of that are remembered, and then you can spin up a new EC2 instance, exact replica will be there.
So then
mappings and everything. Go ahead.
Then if I create an AMI myself, for an instance having 5 volumes attached to it, then after having done that process, if I go and look at the snapshot list, I'll see that five snapshots have come up.
Beautiful point. Yes. Answer is yes.
Okay.
You can verify that.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So that's actually a very good question. So create an EC2 instance with five volumes. Okay. Don't create snapshot, the individual snapshots. You just create an AMI and go to snapshot section and see. You will see all of them.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Then.
Manohar,
good class.
all good? Everything is good? Okay, tomorrow we'll talk about ALBs and more fun. Oh, actually, we'll see. If I might even, in fact, there's more concepts towards the volumes. Like there is another one called EFS, more powerful one. It's important from the exam perspective also, but I will see. I didn't want to bore you guys all around the hard disks. That's why I switched to a more interesting DNS topic. So it's a conscious effort. We'll, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. Take care, guys. I'll upload these videos, this couple of videos, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you. It's a very good class.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys. Bye. Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you.